Hi, good evening, race fans. We're here for a treat tonight. We got Dover. That's right. It's been Dover week this week here, Clean Racing League. Tonight we got the ARCA cars, though. We had the trucks, and we had the Xfinity. Now we're bringing the ARCA. Qualifying underway. See who brings these bad boys in the line here tonight. Austin Coop, the man up front. Stay tuned. It'll be a good one. All right, looks like Austin Coop on that top spot. Well, what have we learned this week here? Dover's a tricky track, and it's slick. What's up, Daniel? How you doing, man? Rubino, by the way. Where's Steve at? Steve, right now, sitting in 11th. Bad run for him. Looking strong. If we can find no Austin here, though. In Discord, yep, he's down here. Rogue One. Bring him up here and get a word with him. Austin, join the booth. Got a copy?
Hey there.
Well, man, I tell you what, Austin, right now you're sitting on that pole. How you feeling for tonight?
Feeling pretty good, man. Dover is a track I have never ran in the ARCA car, but I've ran in some other cars before, and I know a little bit about the place. But I mean, I barely have the pole at the moment. I mean, Jacob is. I mean, those two times could not be closer. So he has it kind of figured out too. It looks like, and he got a few hungry guys behind me too. So. It'll be fun to see what happens once we go green, because it's going to be a completely different style of running around the track than how I went in qualifying here. So it'll be some fun, man.
Yeah. Now, we've had the trucks, we had the Xfinity car. What's your take on, like, I know you just said you ran some other cars, but how you feeling the difference between this car and maybe some of the other ones?
I'm still kind of figuring that out with the ARCA car. It has so much more drag than the other cars, and so you can hurt the car a lot more without realizing it, and then next thing you know, it's too late. So it's going to be one of those things is, if I'm starting on the pole here, which I am, which is pretty awesome, you got to set the pace, and if someone wants to really push a heavy pace, do we let that happen? So setting a good pace here early on is going to be really important.
Good luck out there tonight, man.
Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
Alrighty, let's get down there to the Rogue. There you go, Austin Coop, like you just said, he is putting it on pole tonight. Let's look at the grid here real quick. The man out front, Austin Coop, man out front tonight. Jacob Grant going to start her in second. It was thousandths of a second between those two. Bobby Mantle starting there in third. Abraham goes starting in the fourth. We got J.D. Daniels there in fifth. David Brzezinski, he's starting in sixth. Mike Kelly there in seventh. Cam Patterson starting in eighth. Got Assembly 9th, Steve Gerber in 10th. We've got Steve Rubino, he's going to start in 11th. Seth Fowdy there in 12th. As we move on down here to the 13th place spot, we got the man Joshua Alta starting there with it. Bradley Murphy starting 14th. Wayne Chapman in the 15th. Jamie LaRock there in 16th. Danny White 17th. We got Joshua Gillian there in 18th. Chris Smith 19th. Frank Bell 20th. Zachary Fowdy 21st. We got Mike Howerton in the 22nd. Caleb Smith 23rd. And Damian Pacheco, 24th, if he grids. Bradley's been in the booth with me the last couple of nights. Appreciate him bringing up here, man. And Austin's feeling Feeling a little under the weather this week, so hopefully he gets back better, man, and gets back up here in the booth with me next week. Kind of miss him out here. Here we go. Awesome, man, Daniel, man. It's good to hear out there. Yeah, it ought to be a good race. Seen the last couple of nights. The trucks, obviously very loose. You know, we've talked about it many times, coming turn, tire wear here. Last night with the Xfinity car, it seemed kind of planted a little bit. You know, they had their looseness to it there, but a little more planted. This car should, if I had to guess, should be pretty stable. The ARCA car's a good car, but here we go. Pace car's in. Coop and Company up front. Grant there with it. Mantle. Ghost. Green flag. We are racing. Over style. Good old Grant's Designs here tonight, man, bringing this thing to us. Jacob Grant has done an outstanding job here in the series. New series here, too. Right back there, Daniels, Kelly, Ghost Man right along with them. Gonna want to try to get on that low line. Don't want to get stuck up on that high line. Not too long anyways. We'll just go straight on back. And the ARCA car, I'll just be honest with you, if I came back to racing, anything, it'd probably be the ARCA car. The ARCA car is just a fun car to drive. Need to hook up my wheels and stuff back and go out here and check it out. Oh, Wayne. All right, cool. Wayne back there in 15th right now. See what he's doing. He's in the 43 machine. Monster. Joshua Altus right there in front of him. Scott Simley, Steve Rubino there too. Trying to get down. Doesn't want to get caught. We're side-by-side racing right now here. He goes up underneath there. Bradley Murphy in the mix. Scott Simley. Simley kind of stuck to that outside. Not saying you can't make the outside work, but it's tough. Oh, and just like that, man, we're sitting there with Steve Rubino, and wow, let's get another angle on it, but from the angle we were watching there, it looks like him and Altus got together, unfortunately, but maybe he thought he was clear. And he thought it was clear, and the gap just closed up a little fast. You know, I thought he was clear, maybe coming there, clear it up a little bit. Wasn't happening. Two cars got together. Unfortunate for him. Not the night Altus wanted. But sometimes you have good luck, sometimes you have bad. Who we got? Let's see who else we can talk to here. Jacob at. Jacob down here in a high five racing. Bring him up here and get a word with him. Jacob, join the booth. Got a copy?
What's going on, Joe?
Not much. Well, right now you're sitting in second. How you feeling about this car on this track?
Well, a lot better than I was on Monday and Tuesday. It feels really good. I think tire wear is going to be a really big factor here tonight. That right front's going to be very important to save, and honestly, just trying to stay up front and keep track position. I think that's going to be really important here with the dirty air in these cars, how aerodynamic they are. It's pretty important to have clean air with these things and try to get out front here in front of Austin and hold this lead and hopefully lead all of the laps from here.
Looks like these cars got a lot more, downforce to them too. So does that make them a little more tighter than maybe what you saw last night in the Xfinity and maybe the truck?
That's what I meant. They have way more downforce, not that they're aerodynamic. I mean, I guess they technically are because they're race cars. But they have a lot of downforce is what I meant to say. But yes, they definitely have a lot more than the Xfinity car by a huge margin, and still a lot more than the trucks, yes.
Okay, good deal. Well, I'll tell you what, man, good luck out there tonight.
I appreciate it.
All right, and a high five, man. He's looking strong so far in second, and that right there, he just brought that up, and you could actually see it too. I mean, just by looking at the spoiler on these cars, and also these are a little less horse-powered cars also. So you combine high downforce or high aerodynamics, like what he said, along with less horsepower, you've got you got a very good driving car. Two, it can be very tight forming style car too. Very hard to loosen them up, especially on fixed setup. Really not anything you can do. Open setup, but the only thing you can do is maybe wings, stuff like that. But yeah, you're probably going to tend to be more tight in this car than what it was in the other two, truck and the Xfinity. That's what I thought, Steve. Yeah. Figured the spotter, man, fell asleep on you on that one. Kind of what it looks like. And the closing gap, too, sometimes. Even when the spotter might say clear, by the time he says you're clear, that spot could be closed up really quick. It's like instantaneous. Pace cars in. Cooper Company up front. Good old Grant's design machine right there. Green flag. We're back racing. Another thing with these cars is the outside lane just didn't get going there. Number 6 didn't there, Daniels. Is these cars, how about that, folks, can give a false sense of hope in here, meaning it makes you feel good. And when they make you feel good, sometimes overdrive the car a little bit. Get yourself in a little trouble. Bobby Mantle, working over Mike Kelly. Mantle falls back there to 4th. Kelly up into 3rd. Kelly's been on a roll in the truck chair lately. Let's see what's happening back here in the back a little bit. Around about 13th place spots, you got Zachary Foudy, Frank Bell and company there along with him. Postman front side of this one. Got to give a good shout out to all the sponsors. Obviously, man, Grant's Designs. Jacob Grant, we just talked to him right there, bringing us the series here live. We also got the, Ghost Athletics, CRL podcast, and Apex Mountain and Apparel. And then don't forget about simracingmerch.com. Use the promo code CRL2025. Definitely get you some merchandise off. simracingmerch.com. Wayne Chapman's moved up there to 10th. On the road again. And Brandon Murphy. Murphy has said track has done him no favors this week. Bad racing the truck. Bad. He didn't really race in the Xfinity. And I'm going to try to feel good here in this ARCA car. Ooh. Got up part of the wall. Frank Bell a little bit up there. Battling up there in the front too. Bobby Mantle company there with Patterson. They see a little more passing with this car too. So much grip here. When I say so much grip, you've got more grip than what the other cars have. There's Blinken back there a little bit. Got Chapman right there along with him. Flying around this place. Look at that. Woo. They look like they are moving. Looking good. Howerton right there in 13th. He's going to scooter up there on the inside in that 51 machine. Oh, Caleb Smith back here. Caleb trying to see if we can't get back up here to the front. Emily's lost a lot of spots here, though. Falling off the pace a little bit. You know, Chris Smith, and in the inaugural race here, and he won the inaugural race in the Elite Series. Loves them first-time races. Right there in the 19th place spot. Jamie LaRock right behind him. Joe Joshua Gillian right here. Unfortunately, off the side of this one with Rubino out of it also. A tough night for those guys. But Hoop out front, leading by a second. I say Austin Coop is just putting a beat down on this crowd. Grant right there, man, sitting in second. Mike Kelly holding her up in third. Brzezinski right there in the fourth place spot with Patterson. 19 into this one. Daniels right on board with him here. JD that looks very smooth around the track right there. Look at that thing. Now, I have drove the ARCA car. I drove the old ARCA car, which was basically like based off, I think, like the old NASCAR car. The early 2000s, 03 or whatnot. But this is more like, I think, the Gen 6 and so forth. Got a win in that one. I drove this one. I really would need to get out there and test it out and see what it looks like. Yeah, what's the difference in feel? Got to probably have more downforce than what the older one did. Howerton right there with it with Chapman. Actually, Chapman gets scooted up on the outside. I think Craig Bell's going to take that spot away from him. Battle back there for 11th and 12th. Caleb Trent sitting back there in the 13th place spot. And Howerton looking on the inside of Mantle. Bobby Mantle. Gonna be able to take it from him. Bell's going to follow in the tire tracks here on the inside, along with Chapman back there too riding. Looks like Bobby's going to get caught to the outside and drop. Easy to do at this track. Real easy. Lynn says go Chapman. All right. Chapman fans out there. He had some up and down races. Had some races where it's been, okay, and then he's had some it's like, man, I just want to forget about it. Sometimes that's racing. You have good ones and bad ones. Hoop right now is having a very good one. He's got 1.2 seconds over Grant. Grant sitting there in third place. Mike Kelly trying to run down old Jacob. They've got a pretty good lead here over the fourth place man there, Patterson. Brzezinski right behind them with J.D. Daniels. That's Fowdy. Them boys back there in the back, they still battling each other. Whew. They're on top of it. Fowdy, Ghost, White, Gillian. Door to door. Chapman falls off the pace a little bit. Tires could fall away real quick here. We're quarter way through this one. Fortunately, Chapman is falling back. Tires could be going away on him. Danny White scoots right by him. Here comes Holy Ghost Man. Can't see Ghost out there, by the way, y'all. Good old Ghost. Good guy. A lot of enthusiasm with him, too. Appreciate it. Been a long time sponsor here of the league. Allowing myself to come up here, bring this action to you. Week in and week out. I have enjoyed it. Clean Racing League's in the name, cleanracingleague.com. Go check them out. I know sometimes I get stuck on that, but hey, it's there. What's going on, man?
Just got out of the infield care center and got my suit and tie on and figured I'd come help you call a race.
Yeah, it's all up there, man. Sometimes just get caught up in stuff. Looks like I know Rubino out there. He said, man, his spotter, man, starting to look clear up there, and you know, man, just that just closing gap. And I've talked about that many a times. You know, sometimes the spotter might say it's clear, but by the time it's clear and you make the move, man, that hole can close up real quick.
Oh yeah, I mean I've made the mistakes plenty of times. Just did it at a super speedway here last week. You know, it happens. It's tight quarter racing, and you know, it's product of you know, tight track and, you know, not racing around some guys before. But you know, I'd rather be down there right now. But you know, don't mind coming up and calling a good race with you.
You know, and too, I was talking to Jacob, I talked to Coop here, and obviously you can see too here. I mean, big difference between this car and what we've experienced the last two nights with the truck and Xfinity. You know, this car, from what I talked to them, what it looks like, a lot more downforce, looks a little bit more stable, maybe a little more tighter than what those other two.
Oh yeah, it was the further into the week we've gotten, the tighter the vehicle's gotten. We started out with the truck, and then the Xfinity car was really snug last night, and then this one was extremely snug. I mean, I was struggling in practice, and you know, qualifying didn't go well, but Austin Cooper out here putting on a clinic so far, got a 2-second lead.
Yeah, he is. He got Grant there behind him with Kelly and all, so some little kind of mini battles going on throughout the track. Guys making some passes there. Howerton up to 8. And you're right, just talking about it. And, you know, I was surprised last night with that Xfinity car how tight it was. You would have thought it had been a little bit looser, but I guess that's that trade-off where the track temp was so hot. And I know I was telling everybody that's a physics thing, that it sounds like a hot track should be slick, but actually they say a hot track you can get tight on, and a cold track you can get slick on. I'm like, really?
Yeah, it does seem a little opposite of what you would think in real life, because we got a ton of cloud cover. It's been like that the last couple of days we've run here, and I don't know if it's just, you know, a product of you know, I know iRacing rescanned a lot of the tracks, and a lot of them, even the vehicles just drive a lot differently. So just, you know, going through different evolutions of updates, and yeah, you got to really adjust your driving style to it.
Absolutely. Mike Kelly taking over second place spot there from Jacob Grant. Grant spot pretty good here tonight, there in second. Like I just said, Coop, man, out here putting the clinic on him here out front. I talked with him before the race. He said he was a little unsure on, he's never drove this car at Dover, but he's drove many of the others. And, you know, I've only drove the older ARCA car. I've not drove this one. So I guess if you're really, really good in any of the other higher end cars, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're probably pretty good in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think just racing experience overall. You know, I don't know a ton about Austin Coop. I know he started at the rear of the field of USA International last week, and pretty much drove through the field on a track that was extremely hard to pass on. I know he's got friends that are extremely fast on iRacing as well. So, you know, looks like he's putting on the show tonight so far.
Him in the truck series give Mike a run for his money.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe, when you get a second, if you don't mind just sharing that stream so I can look at that with you. Thank you.
Got Kelly right there in second, and then third. Patterson, man, Cam Patterson having a good run here tonight, sitting in fourth, and David Persiski having a pretty good run himself. But here comes Seth Fowley, man. Going to try to take that spot from him. Got J.D. Daniels right there, coming on the inside.
Ooh, almost 3 wide.
Yeah, this track, man,
I
3 wide just don't.
here.
That's what I was say. 3 wide just don't really work too well here.
No. Shoot, Joe, and these cars 2 wide don't work too well here. So,
yeah, no doubt. I mean, you know, and that's the tricky part about this track. We've talked this week about the transition coming off the turn. You know, you're always on a bank here, no matter what around this track. But there's that slight transition to where it goes from the turn to the front or back stretch. But you're right, coming out of those turns, if you're side by side, you get really loose, and that's 2 wide. I mean, 3 wide, good night.
Austin Coop almost out to a 3-second lead, so he's continuing. I was keeping an eye on Mike Kelly as he got by Jacob Grant there. Mike's been really fast at Dover all week. Parker Collins has been his nemesis, so you know, thanks to Parker for sitting out tonight to give someone else a chance. So definitely think Mike Kelly would be towards the top of my list to go get it done. So now that he's in second, I'm curious to see if he can start running down Austin Coop here a little bit.
Well, the lap times before there, they were like 73, 72. This time by it was 81 to 71. So Mike made up just a little bit of ground that time. But it seems like lap after lap, they're only within 100 or so of each other, a couple hundredths of each other. So they're running almost identical. And you see Grant back there running around at about the 80 mark. And then a 90 that time. So like I say, with Coop and Kelly, it was a 77, 74. So yeah, they're back and forth. There's only about a couple hundredths between the two, so they're running pretty even.
Yeah, Jacob Grant's another one that I would look to be really good at this track. I know he had some really bad luck last night, and his night got really cut short. Really was before he got started, unfortunately, last night. But he was really fast in the truck here, and I think he got caught up in some issues there. So it hasn't been the best Dover week for Jacob, but he's qualified well, and he's running third place right now. We got a heck of a battle going on for fourth back here, Joe.
Yeah, we do. Man, we got Fowley, Patterson, Daniels, Persiski right there having a good run in himself. We'll see if he can't get up here soon in that mix. That's 4 machines right there. They finally get it all single file. You see Daniels kind of right there in that number 6 machine, 6th place. And that's kind of what you see around this track. You know, you pick them off one by one once you get single file. It's really just kind of a one groove style track. I mean, you would think after a while, as tight as it be, they'd migrate up to the middle, but you just don't ever see it here.
Yeah, I agree. And real quick, Joe, I want to give a shout out to David Bersicki. He's getting better and better in the trucks, but I've really seen him do well, you know, in the Xfinity Series, you know, the Elite Series rather. He actually passed me for second place last week at Rockingham in 3 and 4, and he's a great driver here in the ARCA Series too. So good to see David doing well. And we got pit stop started.
We do, and he's one of the first ones there with Wayne Chapman. And now I gotta ask, since we're on a pit stop, but last night me and Brad was watching your pit stop, and when you go back and watch the broadcast, you're going to see it. I said, Altus is cheating.
Oh yeah, I saw it this morning.
Yeah, I was like, how in the world did he get that done on that pit road? And we were like, probably just a visual type thing, man. But
yeah, I think it was just an iRacing glitch, because I was right in the middle of the bots on my screen. So, but I did go back and see that today, and it did look kind of funny. So yeah. I think it was just a visual thing.
Yeah, we were having a chuckle out of that one.
Well, here's the question, Joe, because I watched your broadcast on OSR Network last night, or this morning rather, and I think the big difference last night was Parker Collins being able to get on and off pit road. You know, yes. I wonder if Mike Kelly might take a chapter out of Parker Collins' book, and maybe he can get aggressive on pit road and see if he can cut this lead in a little bit.
You know, I was amazed by some of the times he was putting out there last night, and I was kind of questioning some of it, because I was like, how in the world? Because, I mean, he was coming on, you know, it's like Bradley mentioned, it's a tough place to come on pit road on a green flag stop anyways, and he was coming out to things like sideways a lot of times, and he even mentioned himself, after the race that he thought he was sped a couple times coming on pit road. It looked like it. I mean, he was there, but he was, I talk about total pit times a lot. I mean, he was almost a dead second, sometimes half a second faster than Kelly getting in and on pit road, and I was like, wow.
That's wild. It's such a risk versus reward, too, because like you said, this, if it's not the hardest, it's definitely up there in the top 2 or 3 hardest pit roads to get on and off of, just because it's so slick, and the transition from the concrete to the pavement down there, and it just comes up so fast on you. It's only 35 miles an hour, too, so really easy to miss it. And I mean, it's just such a risk versus reward, and I give Parker all the credit in the world, because I mean, you gotta you gotta really be committed to it, because it doesn't take much, and you step over that line and that's it.
Well, even Mike said after the race that he said, man, I couldn't believe it when he came off pit road, man. He just kind of like blew right by me, and I kind of startled me a little bit. There he is,
Yeah, here comes Mike.
Yeah.
Looks like
that's the same way. Yeah, same way. I mean, Parker was coming in here too, and it's close, and and I mentioned those little white lines too. You kind of, lack of a better word, cheat a little bit here on there. And that's where you make your time up. Is I mentioned last night, you got to be 35 mile an hour, but you got to be 35 mile an hour by the time you hit that line. So
that's right.
You could make it 40 mile an hour in between those lines. You could. I mean, so I mean,
let's keep an eye on him here and see if he gets a penalty. I think he may have just nailed it, because like I said, that might be the difference. Oh, there he goes.
Good.
So he made it.
Yeah, that's close. We'll see what the total pit time is.
We'll compare that with Austin.
I mean,
Austin comes in.
Last night, Parker was down, I think, in the
49 second or something?
Yeah, the 49.7, and right there was a 50.12 total. So Mike Kelly actually was a lot.
That's pretty good.
Faster, because he was only doing 50-50s, I think, last night, 50-60s last night.
Austin Coop's on right now.
There he is. We'll see if he's able to get on pit road. But just to give you a tally, 50-12 on that. And Jacob Grant was a 50-72 total. So that's how much time they're making up on pit road. And those are total time, folks. It's something I wish real broadcasters on would talk about. They don't. I don't know why. Because a lot of times when you see somebody and you're wondering, well, man, that guy had a 14 flat pit stop and the other dude had a 15-second pit stop. How is he still behind the other guy? They can make it up somehow on and off pit road somewhere in that point. And just to give you a reference, I'm going to give you a reference right here. Austin Coop, 51-20 total time.
There goes Mike Kelly right around him. So
there you go. I mean, his pit stop was a 15:48. Kelly had a good pit stop of a 14:88. So not only did he pick up time there, he picked up a tremendous amount of time on and off pit road somewhere, which we saw that. So they're just going to give you all an idea, folks. And then now the best one, Seth Fowdy, 49.70 total. Wow.
That's really good. Yep, that's Parker. That's like Parker Collins last night.
Man.
And I tell you what, Seth Fowdy is another one. He's a little sneaky because he hasn't had the best qualifying efforts here, which, I will 100% take the blame last night. We accidentally set the session up for one lap qualifying instead of two, and I think it caught a lot of people off guard, including myself. I wasn't ready for that, but it's just, we talk about it all the time, Joe. You know that's one of my Achilles heels. I'm trying to get better with qualifying, and you just really put yourself behind, when it's so hard to pass already. And then you put a couple good guys like, Parker Collins or Mike Kelly up front, it just makes that hill really steep to climb.
And I think if he wasn't so far back, I mean, he had the pit strategy last night. Seth Fowdy did. I mean, he come right back up there and got a second or third out of that deal with an amazing pit stop. So tonight, on the move again with pit stops. I mean, he's still sitting right there in ninth place. Obviously, we still got a couple guys that still need to do a pit stop up front. We got Gillian, Zachary Fowdy. Still need to do a pit stop out here. Now, I am kind of wondering, though, being that this car's, well planted like it is, how much will tires matter as it has in the past? Now we've seen tire, like last night it looked like the second and a half was a really good indication of difference in tires. With this thing being as tight as it is, will that slow it down a little bit between the tires?
Yeah, I'm really curious to see. I mean, I'm really looking at the differential between Mike Kelly and Austin Coupe right now. You know, that last lap, Austin Coupe was about 0.2 quicker than Mike Kelly. I think he was 4.
Yeah, he was ran 22.88 to
4 tenths quicker. Yeah, so yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see, because that was my struggle really last night. Which, I mean, my first stint, you know, I started running really conservative, hoping that the tires, I think even Seth Foudy had mentioned that in his post-race interview, that, you know, he ran really conservative on that first stint, and it just seemed like the tire difference never really, I don't want to say mattered, but it wasn't enough to you know, overcome being uber conservative at the beginning. So I mean, this is a really tricky track, because you gotta push it, right, to maintain your track position and your speed, but you don't want to overdrive it, because then you're going to roast that right front. So it's a very fine line.
Yes, it is. And then you're talking about between the top two, Kelly and Coupe. I mean, the last time there was 100 difference. One ran 06, one ran 07. So, I mean, that's back to where they were running about equal to each other, and Grant back there running in the 13th. And now Foudy's running a little bit quicker. He ran an 01 up there, so he's running, you know, comparable to what the leaders are running right now. He's just, you know, about 3.5 seconds back. And to make that gap up here, you know, I talk about times a lot. I talk about what it takes to pass cars. He's going to need tenths and tenths. Get up there. Hundredths is just not going to. It's just going to run out of time for it.
Now, if history repeats itself at all, I would think that Mike Kelly made the right decision to pit before Austin Coupe, because, like you talk about all the time, Joe, you know, you can be a little bit quicker, but you really need a good amount of time difference to be able to get up and actually pass him, right? Now, you know, I think Coupe has been, you know, about 0.2 quicker, but I'm just curious if that's going to continue, or if by the time he gets to Mike Kelly, is it going to even out? Because even Parker Collins talked about it last night at one point. You know, he had driven, you know, I think from 4 seconds back and caught Mike, and he said once he got about 0.6 back, it was just like it hit a wall of air, and he couldn't go anywhere. So I'm really curious if the same thing's going to happen to Coupe, or, you know, if that 3-lap difference on the tires is going to be enough for him to overcome that.
Yeah, and, you know, you're seeing it's maintained about that 1.5 to 0.2 difference. That time was 33 to 19. Obviously, Kelly, if we can get around this lap car here, see what the difference is. Now, just in reference, we're looking at we'll be running about 25 to go here pretty soon, and at 25 laps to make up, well, he's 0.6 back. I mean, he's got plenty of time to get that done. If he was to say maybe a second and a half back, it might be pretty close. But like what you said, catching and passing, that's two different things here. Coupe is definitely faster though, and if he can get, as another subject I bring up a lot here, man, you know, Joshua, is the fact of what it takes just to go buy a car. If he can get to him and maintain doing a second, or not a second, but a 1.5 to 0.2 faster, he is just going to zoop right on by Kelly if he can get to his back door.
Well, and the best way to do it too, just with this track being as tight as it is, and like we talked about earlier, it's really kind of a one groove track, right? So, you know, he's going to have to time it to where he gets a really good run off the exit of the corner and has a bunch of momentum. And then what he's going to want to do is kind of pull to that quarter panel, try to get under him, and then just kind of dive it in, you know, going into the corner. It's almost like a dive bomb of sorts. You can see him kind of running this upper lane to kind of prepare to get that run. And that's how he's going to try to attack him.
Yeah, you can see it. I mean, 9 times out of 10, you diamond off into the turn. It kind of leaves the inside open a little bit. You're hoping the guy doesn't, like you say, dive bomb in there. Here comes Coupe. He's there, and he's definitely got that speed. But again, even though he might be 2/10 faster and can probably just zoom right on by, it's a very tough place to pass. And there you go. He came off the turn really well.
He's right.
He's got to set
and look
this
how
up.
Look how much Mike Kelly's moved up the track too, Joe. He's trying to put all that dirty air on him to not give him any clean air. So
yeah, don't want to stay down there on that bottom like you just said. And they're pretty much even, and you can just see Coop is well better, man, in the turn through the middle. And they both about equal coming off right there. But that's where I think he's going to do it, and he might have it this time.
Oh yeah, if he can get back to the gas, Kelly's going to hang on, not let him clear yet. It's going to be difficult to get this pass done on the bottom. I mean, the car just gets so tight.
Oh, he made it off the turn. Yeah, he did just what you said. Was able to scoot it right off the turn. That car just rotating so well for him. And you know, it just. Look, I'm not behind the wheel. I don't know what he's experiencing, but for that car looks right now. It's like it's on rails.
Oh, it's a helpless feeling too if you're Mike Kelly. I mean, I was in the same position last night. I had, which granted, you know, he doesn't have much older tires, but you know, the tire differential is pretty substantial, and you know, it just kind of feels like you're a sitting duck because you can only get the car to rotate so much, right? And when you got guys chasing you from behind and their car's rotating much better through the corner, I mean, there's, you know, he did the right thing. He moved up and tried to put the air on his nose, but you know, Coop's car's just handling better right now, and he's got that 3-lap fresher tires too.
Absolutely. Out front, Austin Coop, Mike Kelly there with us, Seth Foudy. Funny comment out there for football. He said Joe and Josh, Mike Joy and Darrell Waltrip. So I guess the next question is who's Joy, who's Waltrip? So
there you go. We'll let the fans
way.
decide that one.
I will say I grew up listening to Barney Hall, and I love.
Oh man, he was the best.
Yeah, I love mimicking a lot of what he did and stuff, and Dr. Jerry Punch and those guys. So
oh yeah,
I grew up, man, listening to them and being here near the Charlotte area. You know, not far away. Obviously, that's where PRN, MRN's at, and growing up around listening to that stuff. When I started doing the iRacing broadcast, real quick, that's what I wanted to bring, that style. Yeah, you see visually what Coop and them is doing on the track, and I could sit up here and just kind of let it play out and say, hey, look at the gap on here. But I like bringing that action too, man. That those guys bring the excitement on here. And Coop, man, right now, like you said, putting the clinic on. He hasn't walked away too far from Kelly, but it's slowly but surely. I mean, obviously those two guys are running. I mean, it was a 56, 57 at last lap, and a 54 by Foudy. So the top three are all just almost dead even with each other. Even if there was a caution, I think at this point, I don't think between those three, I still think Coop has the advantage, but it would. I don't even know which one of those guys would get the position.
Well, I'll say this: if we do happen to get a caution, which I know Austin Coop would probably throw something at me when he goes back and hears this right now, but you know, if you're Mike Kelly or Seth Foudy, you know, they're probably going to tell me to keep talking, right? And but if you get a caution, you really got to think about this, Joe. Obviously, there's been a lot of laps on the tires, but we talk about it all the time. You know, if you get a group of, you know, say 5 or 6 guys stay out, you know, that's still going to be a tall task for these guys, even on the new tires, to try to get back through everybody in a short period of time.
Yeah, and then even if a caution, let's say in the next couple of laps was to fly, you're only talking by the time you go back. It wouldn't be green, white, checkered territory, but it would definitely be around about that 7 to 8, 6 mark to go. And like what you said, it's risk versus reward. So if you're Austin Coop, Kelly, Foudy, and them up there, if let's say those 3 come on pit road, and like you said, 6 or 7, 8 others stay out, yeah, they're going to be a lot faster, but they're again getting around them in time. A track like this, unlike, you know, something like, say, you know, Charlotte, Atlanta, or a track like that where you could just, you know, bust a high line and go, you're not going to here. So it would be very difficult to get back up to the front.
And we still got 16 guys on the lead lap right now. So to your point, Joe, I mean, let's say those 3 come in, and I mean, let's say 10 people stay out. I mean, you're just not gonna get back in time.
No. So it's risk versus reward, and that's why I always say if a caution comes out and you're the leader, that is one of the hardest decisions to make. A good battle going on back here around 5th place spots. You got Persiski right there with Grant. Grant's trying to see if he can fire back. Patterson there. Patterson's having a good run here tonight, along with Howerton, man. He's at 14 spots there in 8th. I got to give a shout out to old Brad, man.
Bradley Murphy.
Yeah, Brad, he come up in the booth. Austin's been sick this week, and Brad came up in the booth up here on me. He said, man, I got in trouble in that first wreck. So he had a bad race in the trucks, and he's been helping out on the Tuesday. And he said, man, he just said, I hope I have a better run in the ARCA, because he said last week was a bad run for him. And
well, he's doing a great job right now.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So far, so good for him. Up 5 spots in 9th, so gotta give him a good shout out there. Hopefully we don't jinx him.
Yeah, good run right now, top 10. Hopefully he doesn't have too much longer left, so shout out Bradley.
Absolutely, man. Like I said, that battle in front of him there, Howerton and Mike Howerton. Is that a new guy? I haven't really.
Mike Howerton, he is new.
Okay.
He's run a couple races in the Elite Series. I haven't raced with him before, but he seems like a really nice guy. Seems like a solid driver. I think he had some issues last week. I know he ran at USA International and it was a couple laps down last week, but did a really good job right now. Yeah, that was a one.
It was different. I was talking about that track, and I think that's the first time I've ever done a NASCAR style track. I've done some like the modifieds or the late models. Obviously, I've done dirt there. I never really called like a NASCAR style race at that track, and I was like, man, this is gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it's another one I stepped on myself there at the end and wrecked half the field. So sorry to everybody listening to this. But it was just so hard to pass. I mean, I had to try to get clear of Evan Kinney there and throttled it up too soon and got loose and just wrecked everybody. So it happens.
It does. Coop right now has got that, and he's got a 4/10 lead over Mike Kelly coming up here with about 5 to go. Going to be 4 when they cross the line. Kelly's right behind him with Foudy hanging on there into the 3rd place spot. Unfortunately, he's about 4 seconds back. So, like I said, he's the one that's probably wanting it for the cars to come out now so he can close that gap up. Because they are all running.
We got a lot of lap traffic right in front of the leaders too, Joe. So don't get this into Coop just yet.
I see that. I mean, you can see it right there. That's actually Gillian, Bell, and I talk about with lap cars. Sometimes, and obviously the leader's going to be up here yelling. I'm going to say it again. As long as the lap car stays straight, doesn't go weaving all over the place, keep their line. It's up to the leader, which there Coop doing a great job.
Yeah,
that's what I was about to say.
He made quick work there.
Yeah, it's what I'm saying. It's the leader's job to get around those guys, and for them to just hold their line to the way they are. I mean, you definitely don't want no lap traffic just going all around. But yeah, Austin Coop, that was a heck of a move.
I think that was the difference too, because he split those 2 lap cars and he got by them really quick, and you can see Mike Kelly's getting really held up here, and I think that was the move.
Yeah, Kelly right now still trying. He's going to have to go to the outside and try to get around these guys. That's just not going to fare too well here at this track. So we're coming down to the closing laps. 2 to go here tonight. It's been Austin Coop. White flag out one more time. For the man up front, he has pretty much dominated most of the race here tonight. Mike Kelly's been there. And Austin Coop still coming out of the turn. Kelly has tried everything he possibly could do, but it's 2 more turns, and that man right there, Austin Coop, is going to put her in victory lane here tonight for the ARCA Series here at Dover. Very good race. Got Kelly coming home in 2nd, and Seth Foudy bringing her home there in 3rd. So what a race! I mean, that was clean there.
Yeah, that was a great race. Really well managed there by Austin Coop and got the win. And man, I know Mike's going to be frustrated right there, but like you said, there's only so many places you can go. It's a tight track, and I know Mike Kelly's not going to be happy though, trying to get through those lap cars there.
Yeah, and that's the sad part when you run up on lap traffic like that, and obviously sometimes, man. Hey, I've said it a million times. Somebody's going to be happy and somebody's going to be sad, but tonight. Coop, man's happy. And then I guess, in a nutshell, Kelly should be pretty pleased. He had a fast machine all night long, was able to get back up there in a second. Just, I think the tire difference, like what you was talking about between the two, kind of paid off there at the end. But bring old Seth up here. You want to get a word with him?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Hey, Seth, it's Josh and Joe up in the booth. You guys?
Hey, Josh, how are you tonight?
Well, I wish I was out there on the track with you a little longer than I was. So, but that's
Well,
okay. I got my
just
got my
realized
suit on and came on up.
I just realized my question was stupid because I realized you got out of the car and now you're in the booth. So yeah.
Yeah, not the night I was looking for, unfortunately. But
He was
it
so
happens. But, hey,
fast that he finished the race before y'all did. That's what it was.
That's right. I was,
There you
I was way
go.
ahead.
Nice
But-
win, Josh.
Yeah, thanks, man. But let's talk about you, Seth. Great run tonight, man. That's two podium finishes in a row for you. I know you and I had a little dust up last week, so glad we can put that behind us. But kind of walk me through your night a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it was kind of same thing as last night. This wasn't a real good qualifying position, so I had to work my way through the field a little bit. I got into practice a little late tonight, so wasn't expecting the car to be as tight as it was. It was extremely tight. Tight on entry and tight on exit. So you really had to watch it out of 2. Wasn't nearly as bad out of 4, but 2, it just seemed like it got real tight. And we did a good job of not putting it in the wall. I think we might have scraped the wall maybe once or twice the whole night, but it was just a scrape, so no damage to the car. So we were able to combat the tightness of it. But, it was odd because, early on in the run, at the start and then at the caution, at the point of the caution, guys were really fast. I don't know how they were combating that tightness of the car. So, we lost ground because of that. And then we just had to kind of fight to work our way back up. Guys' tires kind of fell off and we were able to maintain tire wear and, run some quicker pace. So all in all, strong, solid performance. I'll take a top 3 there, and we'll move on to next week. So
Yeah, real quick, can you just kind of, touch on, I think one problem that I really had this week at this track was just trying to find the balance of how hard to push versus save. I know you and I were kind of in the same boat last night where we took it really easy on that first stint, and I heard you say in the interview last night you were kind of surprised that it didn't pay off a little bit more. Can you talk a little bit about that, kind of tonight as well, of like trying to find that balance of pushing and saving, and did you find something there at the end to where you think you could have competed with them if you maybe started a little further up front, or where'd you end up with all that?
yeah, I think the key for here is, it's a concrete track, right? So you have a bit more tire wear. It's always a concern when you're at this track on how much the tires are going to wear out, and you're right. Throughout the week, it was a balance issue, right? It was trying to determine, okay, well, am I saving too much? Should I go harder or not, right? And then I can only evaluate that, when the pit stops roll around, and we can evaluate what that wear looks like to determine how I'm going to do on the next stints. For tonight and last night, I think what I found that worked the best and also helped fight the tightness off was if I rolled out of the throttle, which is, typical for most tracks, roll out of the throttle and get it down to the apron, right? Like all the way down, right? So that left tire is like touching apron early and keep it as low as possible. I was able to roll the center better, and I was also able to judge the exit a lot better. So I was able to kind of combat that tightness off. If I did not do that, then I found that I got tight on center, and then, of course, the rest of the turn is blown because the car's already tight. So, I think once I was able to kind of get down on the low side there, keep it down and roll, and I was able to figure that out. It clicked in my brain. I think, potentially if we'd had a better starting position, held on to track position early on, certainly I would like to say that we'd be up there fighting for, second or first, but that was how I tried to beat it tonight, Josh. I'm not sure if you kind of felt the same way, but, I noticed a lot of guys are a lane up, And I think a lot of that's kind of just based off of it's natural, right? As you're kind of driving in on this track, going into the turn, you naturally kind of do drift up, and a lot of guys end up in that lane above the bottom lane pretty quickly. But if you can get it to hold on the bottom, it keeps the tires from really wearing out as well. So that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, that's some really good insight for the fans there, man. I appreciate it. Well, before we let you go, we want to give you the floor for any shout outs.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Want to thank CRL for the races and the league and the community here. Great group of guys, racing week in and week out. I want to thank all the admins for everything they do to put this on and produce a clean racing league. You guys have just really blossomed, and it's really cool to see what you guys are doing with the league and your expanding series and things like that. So congratulations to you guys. OSRN Network with Joe, and of course you jumping in tonight. Thank you so much for what you do in the booth, Joe. I think you're amazing, and love watching the replays of these races, whether I win or whether I don't. It's just cool to go back and listen to your insight on everything. So appreciate that. Want to thank my family and my wife for she crew chiefs for me. I want to thank her for her time and efforts that she puts in. Want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for my abilities to have the sim equipment and things like that. I've been very blessed with that. And then of course my shout out to Charlie Kirk and his family. So that's it, guys. Thank you.
There you go, Seth Fowdy finishing P3 tonight.
Absolutely, man. Good nights, man. Last night, good night for him tonight here. Mike Kelly, man, just came up a little short tonight here, winning it, but coming home here in second. Want to get a word with him?
Yes, sir. Let's do it. Mike Kelly finishing P2 tonight, man. I tell you what, Mike, I wish I was out there on the track a little bit longer with you guys. Didn't work out for me tonight, but talk me through your night.
It was a good night. The old, what was I driving? Oh yeah, the Valvoline Chevrolet SS. Yeah, she was hooked up. Austin was really fast though, so I'm good at Dover. I really like Dover, but I still tend to burn up the right front more than a lot of people. However, that being said, Dover seems to be a track where you can get away with that and still be competitive. You just got to be careful not to blow your tire out. So I was trying to save a little bit and see what would happen at the end of the run, because I knew if we weren't green, it was a long run. So sure enough, I started eating up some hundredths there at the end of that run. And I thought, well, I don't know if it's going to be enough, but I tried to undercut him. And that worked well. I got 4 laps on him on the undercut and was about 3 seconds ahead of him when he came back out. And he caught me quicker than I thought he would, to be honest. But I was trying to save some for the end. And he caught me, and I saw what line he was running. So I was like, well, I know he's going to pass me, but we got to at least give you guys some good TV up here for something, for the battle for the lead. So I tried to mock his line, and it held him off for a little bit, and we put on a bit of a show. But he got around me. But one of my main goals was to try to get him to burn his stuff up. And since I knew I was a little bit faster, I thought if I could, the longer I could hold him off until he passed me, maybe I could come back at the very end and make a show out of it, which lo and behold, it worked. But we reached Hornet's Nest there, and I can't really say if it hurt me or helped me, but I think it hurt me a little bit. And that's what it's all about, racing through the traffic. I would have liked to see the traffic, organize a little bit and get out of the way and then continue their battle. But it is what it is, and it made for an exciting finish, and I almost got it. It was a lot of fun.
It certainly did. Well, you had a heck of a week here, Mike. You were really fast in all the races we ran this week. I know I told Joe, I said, I know Mike pretty well. I'm sure he's screaming in his car with these lap cars in his way, trying to get to the leader at the end. But overall, man, really, really great job, this whole week with some solid runs. And I know you had got your win last week in the ARCA Series, so P2 tonight. The floor's yours for any shout-outs before we let you go.
Hey, I appreciate that. I mean, I'm not always the fastest guy, but I try to be the most consistent guy, so... Had a good week, good finishes, and shout out to OSRN and all you guys in the booth. It was fun. I think did I get to talk to you? I can't remember, but I got to talk to you guys a lot, and I always enjoy that. It's a lot of fun. And Joe with you guys, the guest hosts, hanging out with them. It's a lot of fun to watch on the backside when we get done racing here. And thanks to all the sponsors, Ghost and Grant Designs and Apex Mountain Apparel, CRL Podcast, all the admins putting on a great show. Tons of fun here at CRL. And shout out to T1H. I think we had some good finishes tonight. Poor Scotty. He's having terrible luck, so got to give a shout out to Scott. And special thanks to the wife. I joke around with the smoking hot wife thing, but really, I race 3, 4, 5 nights a week. So shout out to her for putting up with me and letting me have a lot of fun racing with all you guys.
All right, there's your runner-up, Mike Kelly. Congrats on a good run, Mike.
Thanks, Josh.
Absolutely. Mike Kelly, man, bringing it home in second there. He tried to run this guy down here tonight. Austin, Joy in the booth, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, I talked to you before the race there. You put it on pole. You was able to put it in victory lane here tonight. You said you was kind of uncertain about this car. Well, after now, how certain are you about the feeling of this car?
It felt really good the first run, and that's really what got me the victory. Was after the only caution was that first run. It was really good for me, and I felt like I really put a decent gap, and I lost a little bit of time on pit road, and I got the tires back on Mike. But the second run wasn't as good. I know I passed Mike, but it just didn't feel as good. But, it worked out really well because of the tire advantage, and then the lap traffic at the end. I really wish we would have been able to run it heads up, but it felt pretty good that first run. I felt really good with the car that first run.
Absolutely. Now, when you were trying to run down Mike there, I mean, did you feel like you had the car to run him down? And he had a heck of a pit stop there to get out front. But I know this place is tough to pass, tough to catch. But at any point, did you think, man, I'm gonna just run out of time trying to catch him?
It really was a matter of how hard I wanted to push to catch him, because I knew if I went all out, I'd catch him, and I knew he wasn't going 100%. Neither was I. We were both trying to save at least a little for the end, and so for what I was willing to put in, I felt it was decent. But that's why he started catching me on the backside of the run, is just because I put a little bit of effort in getting to him. I wanted to get to the lap traffic before him, and that's what also paid off too, is just the decision of I want the lead. I want it now. It's kind of my mentality all the time, is I want to be out in front all the time, and I got the lap traffic, and that really solidified everything. But I don't think it was hard. The side by side was, I think, just a decision for the both of us were making, and he didn't make it easy on me. He took my line away a couple times, and I would have done the same thing if I was him. But it wasn't too bad.
Now, definitely got the win from him tonight, man. Austin, you got anybody you want to thank for it?
Oh yeah, I definitely got to thank my wife. She lets me do this weekly, and it's pretty cool to have a really neat hobby that other people also enjoy in the same regard. Gotta thank God, and I've also just gotta thank the league a lot. I didn't thank the league the last time I was interviewed, and I feel really bad about that. So everyone who makes it happen, it's really nice to have a league that you can come weekly and just know, like, if you get wrecked out, it's not on purpose. And that's what happened last week. It didn't happen on purpose, and then you come to a racetrack where we can spread out a little bit more, and you can really see the talent of the drivers and the courtesy that everyone can give when we're not at a short track, and that's really nice to see. So, yeah, it was fun, and I appreciate you guys so much.
There you go, Austin Coop, man. Like you said, putting the clinic on him tonight here. It was a good race at Dover. It's been a good race all week long. It's been kind of the Dover week here at the Clean Racing League. Started off Monday, got it on Tuesday, finished it off here on Wednesday. Let's look at the kind of show the results order here real quick. As the man out front, Austin Coop finishes it and wins it tonight with Mike Kelly there in second. Seth Fowley bringing her home in third. J.D. Daniels, good finish for him there in fourth, with David Persisky bringing over the fire back there in fifth. Cam Patterson finishing out in sixth. We've got Mike Howerton there in seventh. Bobby Mennel up in the eighth. Jacob Grant finishing off in ninth. Bradley, good run for him tonight there in the 10th place spot. Old Ghost Man himself there in 11th. Caleb Smith bringing her home up 11 spots there in the 12th place. Back here in 13th, we got old Steve Gerber. Joshua Gillian there in the 14th. Danny White finishing 15th. Zach Fowley up in 16th. Crank Bell 17th. Old Wayne, he got it back up there to the 18th. Jamie LaRock there in 19th. Chris Smith finishing 20th. Scott Simley 21st. Got Joshua, unfortunately, man, back there in the 22nd, along with Steve Rubino there in the 23rd. And, all in all, good race, good week here, man. It's good to see different variances of cars, because I think between the three, it's yes, there's similarities there, but there are some differences between the cars on this track in itself.
Yep, I agree to that, Joe. I think it just showcases the talent we have across this league, and guys like Parker Collins, Mike Kelly, guys that were Seth Valdy, another one. Yeah, guys that were just consistently, up front throughout, each different series, really speaks to the talent level we have in here, and it's good entertainment, for all the viewers to watch and see how we can, attack this track. Dover is not an easy track by any means, and these cars all drive differently, and I think overall everyone did a great job this whole week.
Absolutely. Well, we go to Homestead, probably a little bit easier track, man, for a lot of guys here in the ARCA Series. Well, we're going to leave tonight here with the Clean Racing League presented by Grant's Design. ARCA Series, for myself and everyone, have a good night.